Have you ever felt like life is slipping through your fingers, leaving you overwhelmed and unfulfilled despite all your hard work? Maybe you've pushed yourself too far, telling yourself there will always be time to take care of your health, your relationships, or your happiness later. But what if later never comes? One day, you find yourself exhausted, disconnected, or wondering where the joy went. It's a reality many of us face, ignoring the things that truly matter until it's almost too late. But it doesn't have to be this way. What if you could stop, reset, and live a life aligned with what truly brings meaning and peace? What if you could master timeless principles that not only help you thrive in the present, but also prepare you for the challenges ahead? In this video, we'll dive into 6 life-changing lessons inspired by Stoic philosophy. These lessons aren't just ideas. They're practical, actionable strategies you can start using today. They'll help you take control of your health, design your environment for success, and embrace the small joys that make life fulfilling. Stick around, and I'll guide you through how these principles can help you transform your mindset and daily habits. And don't forget to share your personal stories or lessons in the comments. I'm excited to hear how these ideas resonate with you. Let's begin this journey together. 1. Health is your greatest currency. In today's relentless pursuit of success, health is often treated as expendable. People chase promotions, financial stability, or social validation, believing their bodies will keep up with endless demands. It's only when the warning signs, fatigue, illness, or emotional burnout become impossible to ignore that many pause to reassess. For some, this moment comes too late. Health is not just a resource, it is the foundation upon which every other aspect of life depends. Without it, even the loftiest achievements lose their meaning. Stoic philosophy provides clarity on this issue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Our health, shaped by daily habits, is largely within our control. Yet, many neglect this power, choosing convenience over mindfulness and treating their well-being as an afterthought. In a world where fast food is abundant, screens dominate attention, and overwork is glorified, the simple act of prioritizing health becomes a radical and necessary choice. Let me return to the story I shared earlier. My friend, who seemed to have everything, a successful career, confidence, and an enviable lifestyle, found himself in a hospital bed after collapsing from exhaustion. As I sat by his side, he confessed his regret. His once unshakable demeanor had been replaced with visible vulnerability. "I thought I had time to take care of myself later," he said. "I thought my body would keep up." He described how his days had become a blur of skipped meals, late nights, and unchecked stress. At first, he dismissed his constant fatigue as part of the grind, a necessary sacrifice for success. But over time, his body began to rebel, and the collapse he experienced became the moment he could no longer ignore the consequences. His story is far from uncommon. Consider 2 individuals. The first is someone who sees health as a priority, weaving small, intentional habits into their daily routine, choosing balanced meals, taking time to exercise, and setting boundaries to protect their mental well-being. This person enjoys a sense of energy and clarity that allows them to excel in their career, connect with loved ones, and fully engage in life's joys. The second individual, however, follows a different path. They push their body and mind to the brink, sacrificing rest, proper nutrition, and stress management in the name of productivity. Initially, they may see results, recognition at work, a growing bank account, but over time, the cracks begin to show. They feel perpetually drained, their relationships suffer, and their physical health deteriorates. The Stoics understood that the path to a meaningful life begins with caring for the self. Epictetus taught, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Health, then, is not a passive state, but a daily practice. To live well, one must act with intention, treating the body and mind as sacred tools to navigate life's challenges. In practical terms, this means making consistent choices to support well-being. Small steps often make the biggest difference. Start your day with movement, a short walk, stretching, or a workout tailored to your energy level. Replace processed snacks with whole, nourishing foods that fuel your body and mind. Hydrate throughout the day. and when evening comes, create a calming bedtime routine to ensure deep, restorative sleep. These habits are not extravagant or unattainable. They are simple yet profound acts of self-respect. Mental health deserves equal attention. The Stoics valued inner peace and mindfulness, recognizing that a chaotic mind can disrupt even the healthiest body. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." Today, this might translate into journaling to organize your thoughts, practicing gratitude to shift your mindset, or simply allowing yourself moments of stillness. Avoid overstimulating your brain with constant content consumption. Instead, embrace device-free periods to let your mind recharge. Imagine you are standing at a crossroads. One path is the familiar road of neglect, where habits like skipping meals, overworking, and ignoring rest lead to inevitable decline. The other path is one of intentional care. This route may require effort, but it rewards you with energy, resilience, and a profound sense of fulfillment. Choosing the second path doesn't mean overhauling your life overnight. It starts with one small, manageable change: a healthier breakfast, a 10-minute meditation, or a commitment to move your body daily. Over time, these small steps compound, creating a foundation of health that supports every aspect of your life. But remember, health isn't about perfection. There will be days when you feel tempted to skip your workout or indulge in less than ideal habits. The key is not to strive for flawless execution, but to stay committed to the process. The Stoics remind us that progress, not perfection, defines a life well lived. Each healthy choice is a vote for your future self, a person with the strength and clarity to pursue their purpose fully. Health is your currency for living. It buys you time, energy, and the ability to enjoy life's riches. Neglect it and you risk bankruptcy, not just of the body, but of the soul. So today, choose to invest in your well-being. Start small, stay consistent, and let the wisdom of Stoic philosophy guide you. Because in the end, the most valuable thing you can possess is the vitality to live a life of purpose, joy, and resilience. Stay authentic in a conformist world. In a world driven by social norms and expectations, staying true to yourself is a challenge many of us quietly face. From the way we present ourselves on social media to the choices we make at work or within our social circles, it's easy to let the opinions of others shape who we become. For some, this may feel like survival, fitting in, pleasing others, or avoiding judgment. But over time, losing touch with who you truly are leads to disconnection, not just from others, but from yourself. Authenticity, though often undervalued, is the foundation of meaningful relationships and a fulfilling life. Stoicism offers a profound perspective on this struggle. Epictetus urged his followers to live in harmony with their true nature, emphasizing, "Know, first, who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." This philosophy reminds us that the pursuit of external validation often comes at the cost of our internal peace. Living authentically allows us to attract relationships and opportunities that resonate with who we are, rather than who we pretend to be. I was reminded of this principle recently when I reconnected with an old friend from school. It had been years since we'd last met, but as soon as we started talking, I realized something remarkable. He hadn't changed. His humor, values, and unique way of looking at the world were as vibrant as ever. He shared how his career path, though unconventional, aligned with his passions. While he admitted it wasn't always easy, he faced judgment and skepticism from peers. He found peace in knowing that his choices reflected his true self. As we spoke, I could sense the confidence and fulfillment that came from living authentically. Not everyone's story unfolds this way. Another classmate came to mind during that conversation. Someone who spent years chasing what others deemed the right path. From a prestigious degree to a high-profile job, their life appeared perfect from the outside. Yet, in private conversations, they often expressed frustration and exhaustion, describing how they felt like a stranger in their own life. Their achievements, while impressive, felt hollow because they were rooted in conformity rather than genuine passion. These two stories highlight a crucial reality. When we live authentically, we might face resistance or judgment initially, but the connections and opportunities we attract are genuine. On the other hand, Shaping ourselves to meet societal expectations often leads to internal conflict and a sense of emptiness. The Stoics understood the profound importance of this choice. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Aligning your actions with your inner values ensures that your thoughts, and by extension, your life, remain unburdened by regret or pretense. Authenticity is not about rejecting society or refusing to adapt. It's about ensuring that your core remains unshaken, even as you navigate external pressures. So how do we embrace authenticity in a world that often rewards conformity? Start by clarifying your values. Take time to reflect on what truly matters to you, not what others expect of you. Journaling can be a powerful tool for this. Writing freely about your priorities, passions, and boundaries can reveal patterns and insights that reconnect you with your true self. Next, practice saying no to things that don't align with your values. This isn't about being defiant, but about protecting your time and energy for what truly matters. For instance, declining a social event that feels obligatory but drains you can be an act of self-care. Over time, these small choices reinforce your sense of identity and freedom. Finally, be mindful of comparison. Social media can be a breeding ground for self-doubt, as curated images and highlights from others' lives make us question our own. The Stoics remind us to focus on what's within our control, and the opinions of others often fall outside that boundary. By detaching from the need to measure up to external standards, you reclaim the energy to invest in your growth. Imagine the difference this approach can make. One person, tethered to the expectations of others, lives a life of quiet frustration, constantly chasing approval that never truly satisfies. Another, guided by their values, may face criticism or challenges, but they wake up each day with clarity and purpose. They know that the relationships they build and the paths they choose are genuine, based on a persona they've created to fit in. Over time, this authenticity becomes a source of immense strength and peace. Staying true to yourself is not a one-time decision, but a daily practice. It requires courage, self-reflection, and the wisdom to let go of what doesn't serve you. As Epictetus taught, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Your authenticity is your freedom. Guard it fiercely, nurture it daily, and let it guide you toward a life of purpose, resilience, and inner peace. 3. Design your environment for success. Success doesn't rely solely on willpower. Many people believe discipline is the key to achieving their goals, but in reality, our surroundings often play a far greater role. In a world filled with distractions, constant notifications, endless options, and tempting indulgences, it's exhausting to rely on self-control alone. When your environment supports good habits and limits temptations, success becomes natural and sustainable. This idea ties deeply to Stoic philosophy. Seneca once wrote, "Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant." In our context, this means aligning your surroundings with your intentions. When you shape your environment thoughtfully, you're not dragged by chaos or impulse. You're led by deliberate design toward the life you want to build. I'm reminded of a colleague who embodied this principle in his approach to work. He was one of the most productive people I knew, yet he never seemed overwhelmed or frantic. When I asked how he managed to stay so focused, his response was simple. "I don't give myself the option to be distracted." He explained how he structured his workspace. No social media on his computer, his phone in another room, and a clear list of priorities for the day. His setup didn't rely on motivation or discipline to keep him on track. His environment did the heavy lifting. By removing the need to constantly make decisions about staying focused, he preserved his energy for what mattered most. In contrast, I once worked with someone who struggled constantly to meet deadlines. Their desk was cluttered, their phone always buzzing with notifications, and their to-do list never seemed clear. Despite their good intentions, they spent more time reacting to distractions than focusing on their goals. While they worked long hours, they rarely felt accomplished, and their stress was palpable. They often blamed themselves, thinking they simply lacked the discipline to succeed, when in reality, their chaotic environment was the primary barrier. These two approaches highlight a simple truth. Your environment can either be your greatest ally or your biggest obstacle. A thoughtfully designed space creates ease, while a chaotic one demands energy you could use elsewhere. Stoicism provides a framework for this. The Stoics understood the value of removing obstacles to focus on what matters most. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You see how few things you have to do to live a satisfying and reverent life. Simplification is the key. Eliminate distractions and you create room for clarity and intention." How can you design your environment for success? Start small. If you want to read more, place books in visible, accessible spots instead of burying them on a forgotten shelf. If healthier eating is your goal, stock your kitchen with nutritious options and keep junk food out of reach. If you're trying to manage your screen time, set up app blockers or create device-free zones in your home. Imagine two people trying to build the same habit. One decides to start exercising, but leaves their gym clothes hidden in the back of a closet. They tell themselves they'll work out after work, but by the time they get home, they're too tired to gather their things and head out. The other lays out their workout clothes the night before and sets a reminder on their phone. When the time comes, they're ready, and the effort required to start is minimal. Over time, the second person's habit becomes second nature, while the first continues to struggle with inertia. Likewise, consider someone trying to quit a bad habit, like late-night snacking. One person keeps bags of chips and sugary treats in plain sight, making it easy to grab something unhealthy without a second thought. Another person removes these temptations from their home and replaces them with healthier alternatives like fresh fruit or nuts. While both may feel cravings, the person who adjusted their environment finds it easier to resist because the obstacles are gone. The wisdom of Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and our environment is firmly within our grasp. By designing spaces that align with our goals, we free ourselves from the constant mental battle of resisting temptation or overcoming distractions. This isn't about creating a perfect world. It's about making deliberate choices that remove unnecessary friction. Reflect on your own surroundings. Are they helping you reach your goals, or are they silently sabotaging your efforts? A cluttered desk, a kitchen full of processed foods, or a phone constantly buzzing with notifications may seem small, but their impact compounds over time. On the other hand, a clean, organized space that reflects your priorities allows you to focus your energy where it matters most. Designing your environment isn't about rigid rules or extremes. It's about removing obstacles and simplifying the path to success. When you set yourself up for ease, your energy is freed to focus on what truly matters. As Seneca reminds us, the willing are led by fate. By aligning your surroundings with your purpose, you allow yourself to be led, not dragged, toward the life you envision. And in doing so, you reclaim the control needed to build a life of fulfillment and balance. 4. Manage energy, not time. In today's culture, where busyness is often worn as a badge of honor, many people fall into the trap of overscheduling their lives. Time management is hailed as the ultimate tool for productivity, with planners and apps promising to squeeze every second out of the day. But the truth is, managing time alone doesn't guarantee results. Energy, not time, is the true currency of productivity. Aligning tasks with your natural energy levels can prevent burnout and lead to higher quality work, even in a culture that glorifies constant activity. The idea is simple but powerful. Throughout the day, your energy ebbs and flows. Some hours you feel sharp and focused, while others you struggle to stay awake. Yet many people ignore these natural rhythms, pushing themselves to perform at the same intensity all day. This often leads to exhaustion, frustration, and ultimately lower productivity. On the other hand, those who understand their energy cycles and work with them, not against them, achieve far more with less effort. The Stoics valued efficiency and balance, emphasizing the importance of aligning action with nature. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do every act of your life as though it were the last." This reflects the Stoic approach to energy management. Act with intention and focus when you are at your best, and rest when needed to maintain clarity and purpose. A former colleague of mine illustrated this concept perfectly. Known for his ability to deliver high-quality work, he had an unconventional approach. Instead of working long hours, he structured his day around his energy peaks. Mornings were dedicated to creative, demanding tasks like brainstorming and writing, while afternoons, when his energy dipped, were reserved for routine work and meetings. He never looked busy, yet his results spoke for themselves. People often asked how he managed to stay so productive without burning out, and his answer was always the same: I don't waste my best energy on the wrong tasks. Contrast this with another coworker who took the opposite approach. Determined to appear industrious, they filled every hour with tasks, regardless of their importance. Emails were answered at all times, meetings were squeezed into every gap, and breaks were considered a waste. While they worked long hours, their quality of work suffered, and they constantly felt drained. Over time, their enthusiasm waned and their performance plateaued. This comparison highlights a crucial truth. It's not about how much time you work, but how effectively you use your energy during that time. Let's break it down further. Imagine two people trying to accomplish a project. The first schedules their most critical tasks during their peak energy hours, when they are naturally focused and alert. They complete their work with clarity and ease, leaving time to recharge and enjoy other parts of life. The second person works on the same tasks but doesn't consider their energy levels. They push through during low energy moments, making more mistakes and taking longer to finish. By the end of the day, they're exhausted, with little to show for their effort. This is where Stoic philosophy offers wisdom. The Stoics believed in maintaining balance and harmony in life. Seneca once advised, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." This applies directly to how we use our energy. By respecting your natural rhythms and prioritizing tasks accordingly, you honor both your body and mind, creating space for more meaningful work. So how can you apply this to your own life? Start by identifying your energy peaks and lows. Pay attention to when you feel most energized during the day. This is when you should tackle your most important or creative tasks. Use low energy periods for routine or less mentally demanding activities, like responding to emails or organizing files. This approach ensures you work smarter, not harder, and reduces the risk of burnout. Another practical strategy is to take intentional breaks. Many people view breaks as unproductive, but the Stoics understood the importance of rest for maintaining focus and resilience. Activities like walking, meditating, or simply stepping away from your desk allow your mind to recharge, making you more effective when you return to work. Think of it as sharpening the saw before cutting. The better prepared you are, the less effort you'll need to achieve results. Imagine how this could transform your daily life. One person, aware of their energy cycles, works fewer hours yet accomplishes more, feeling satisfied and fulfilled at the end of the day. Another, ignoring their natural rhythms, works relentlessly but remains stuck in a cycle of exhaustion and diminishing returns. The difference lies not in effort, but in strategy. Energy management isn't about doing less. It's about doing better. It's about recognizing that your best work happens when you align with your body's natural patterns, rather than forcing productivity at all times. By applying these principles, you not only improve your efficiency, but also create room for the things that truly matter: time with family, personal growth, and inner peace. The wisdom of Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can control, and energy is one of those things. When you respect your energy, you respect yourself. Take charge of your rhythms, prioritize your tasks, and let rest be a tool for growth, not a sign of weakness. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The strength to manage your energy wisely is within you. Use it to build a life of purpose and balance. 5. Embrace the power of small joys. In a world that constantly pushes us to achieve more, the pursuit of small joys often gets overshadowed. Society glorifies major milestones, promotions, accolades, or extravagant vacations, while the quiet moments that make life meaningful are dismissed as insignificant. But here's the truth. Life isn't built on grand achievements alone. It's shaped by the countless small moments we experience every day. These moments, if recognized and cherished, can shield us from burnout and build resilience, even in the face of life's challenges. The problem is, many people overlook this. They spend their days rushing from one task to another, chasing goals while ignoring the beauty in the mundane. The morning coffee, the sound of rain, the laughter of loved ones, these are brushed aside in the relentless race for success. Over time, this mindset erodes joy, leaving life feeling hollow despite outward achievements. Yet those who embrace small joys discover something profound. They realize that happiness isn't found in the occasional grand event, but in appreciating the ordinary. This approach not only fosters contentment, but also builds emotional resilience, helping them navigate setbacks with greater ease. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully when he said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." The Stoics understood that gratitude for the present moment is the key to enduring fulfillment. I remember a time in my life when I was constantly chasing bigger goals, believing that happiness would come after the next achievement. But one day, during a particularly stressful week, I had a simple moment that changed my perspective. I was sitting on my porch with a cup of tea, watching the sunset. The colors were vivid, the air was cool, and for those few minutes, I felt completely at peace. It struck me then. This wasn't an extraordinary moment, but it was perfect in its simplicity. From that day forward, I began to notice the little things: a kind word from a friend, the warmth of the sun on my skin, the quiet satisfaction of completing a task. These moments became my anchor, reminding me that joy doesn't have to wait for big accomplishments. This perspective becomes even clearer when you compare two people. One spends their days fixated on an upcoming promotion, believing that reaching it will finally bring happiness. They sacrifice their evenings, skipping family dinners and ignoring their hobbies, thinking the reward will be worth it. Yet, when they achieve the promotion, the happiness is fleeting. The next goal quickly takes its place, and the cycle begins again. Contrast this with someone who balances ambition with mindfulness. They work hard, but take time to enjoy a morning walk, share a meal with loved ones, or pause to appreciate a kind gesture. While they too have goals, they don't postpone happiness, they weave it into their daily life. Over time, they feel more fulfilled, less stressed, and better equipped to handle challenges. The Stoics teach us that joy is not dependent on external events, but on how we perceive and respond to the world. Seneca advised, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." This wisdom invites us to focus on what we have now, rather than constantly yearning for what's next. By finding gratitude in small, everyday moments, we create a steady source of happiness that doesn't rely on external circumstances. So how can you embrace this in your life? Start by practicing gratitude daily. At the end of each day, reflect on 3 things that brought you joy, no matter how small they might seem. It could be the sound of birds in the morning, a good meal, or a brief moment of connection with a friend. This simple habit shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, cultivating a mindset of appreciation. Another powerful practice is savoring. When you experience something enjoyable, whether it's your morning coffee or a quiet walk, take a moment to fully immerse yourself in it. Notice the flavors, the sensations, and the emotions it brings. This mindfulness deepens your experience, turning ordinary moments into profound sources of joy. Finally, remind yourself that happiness is not a destination, but a journey. It's not about waiting for the perfect job, relationship, or circumstance. It's about finding contentment in the here and now. This doesn't mean you shouldn't strive for growth or success, but rather that you don't tie your happiness solely to those outcomes. Life is happening now, in this moment, and it's rich with opportunities for joy if you take the time to notice. Imagine the transformation this perspective could bring. One person, consumed by the pursuit of external validation, feels perpetually dissatisfied, always looking ahead, but never truly enjoying where they are. Another, grounded in the present, finds beauty in the ordinary and strength in gratitude. They face life's challenges with resilience, knowing that even on hard days, there's something to appreciate. As you navigate your own journey, take a step back from the race for bigger and better. Look around and notice the small joys that surround you. Let them remind you that happiness isn't something to achieve, it's something to live. Marcus Aurelius was right. Very little is needed to make a happy life. By embracing this wisdom, you'll find that the small moments, when cherished, are what make life extraordinary. 6. Rest your mind, recharge your potential. In our hyper-connected world, rest is often misunderstood. Many equate rest with passive distractions, scrolling through social media, binge-watching shows, or losing hours to online games. But true mental rest isn't about numbing the mind. It's about giving it space to process, reset, and recharge. With the constant influx of information and endless screen time, mental exhaustion has become the silent epidemic of modern life. People wake up tired, unable to focus, and increasingly irritable, yet they rarely pause to question why. Mental fatigue doesn't just drain energy, it clouds judgment, weakens emotional resilience, and diminishes creativity. While pushing through exhaustion might seem productive, it's a short-sighted strategy. Without genuine rest, the mind becomes a tangled web of unfinished thoughts and unchecked worries. On the flip side, when you allow your brain to recover, clarity returns and you unlock untapped potential. The Stoics recognized the importance of quieting the mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." This profound idea reminds us that mental stillness isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. By stepping away from constant stimulation, we create space to reflect, grow, and focus on what truly matters. I've experienced this firsthand. My wife and I used to think rest meant sitting in front of the TV after a long day. We'd scroll through our phones during commercial breaks, feeling disconnected despite being in the same room. One evening, we decided to change things. We left our devices in another room, went for a walk under the stars, and talked about everything. Our dreams, our fears, and the little moments that had made us smile that day. That simple act of active rest shifted something in both of us. We felt closer, calmer, and surprisingly refreshed. This contrast between passive distraction and active rest highlights a crucial distinction. Imagine someone who spends their evenings endlessly scrolling through social media. They might feel momentary relief from their stress, but their brain remains overstimulated, unable to truly relax. The next day, they wake up just as tired, their thoughts cluttered by the noise they consumed. Now, picture someone who sets aside their phone, takes a leisurely walk, or spends time journaling their thoughts. This person's mind has a chance to decompress, sort through the day, and prepare for tomorrow with clarity and calm. The difference lies in intention. Passive distractions might feel like rest, but they only add to the mental clutter. Active rest, on the other hand, nourishes the mind and soul. Stoic wisdom reinforces this principle. Seneca advised, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Wasting time isn't about doing nothing. It's about filling your moments with activities that don't truly serve you. So how can you rest your mind in a way that recharges your potential? Start by identifying the distractions that masquerade as rest. For many, it's the endless scrolling, the mindless consumption of content that leaves you feeling drained rather than rejuvenated. Replace these with practices that genuinely allow your mind to breathe. A quiet walk, a few minutes of meditation, or even engaging in a hobby like painting or gardening can do wonders. Imagine two people trying to unwind after a stressful day. One collapses on the couch, scrolling through social media until late at night. They go to bed feeling frazzled, their mind buzzing with fragmented thoughts. The other takes 30 minutes to sit outside, listen to nature, and reflect on their day. They journal a few thoughts, then wind down with a book before bed. While both had the same amount of time to rest, the second person wakes up with a clearer mind, better equipped to tackle the challenges ahead. Resting wisely also means setting boundaries. Turn off notifications during your downtime. Create device-free zones in your home, like the dining table or bedroom, to promote genuine connection and peace. Protect your rest as fiercely as you protect your productivity, knowing that one fuels the other. When you rest intentionally, you'll notice the benefits ripple into every area of your life. Your thoughts become sharper, your emotions steadier, and your interactions more meaningful. This isn't just about productivity. It's about reclaiming your energy and rediscovering joy in the simplest moments. The Stoics knew that control over one's mind was the highest form of freedom. By choosing how you rest and recharge, you exercise that control. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Strength lies not in constant action, but in knowing when to pause, reflect, and allow yourself the grace of recovery. Rest isn't laziness, it's preparation. It's the foundation that enables you to face life with resilience and clarity. Treat your mind as the valuable asset it is. Protect it, nurture it, and give it the space it needs to flourish. When you do, you'll not only unlock greater potential, but also find a deeper sense of peace and purpose. As we come to the end of this journey through 6 transformative life lessons rooted in Stoic philosophy, take a moment to reflect on what truly matters. Each lesson, valuing your health, staying authentic, designing your environment for success, managing your energy, embracing small joys, and giving your mind the rest it needs, offers a path to a more balanced, meaningful life. Together, they form a blueprint for building resilience, finding purpose, and navigating life's challenges with clarity and inner strength. These aren't abstract ideas or fleeting inspirations. They're tools. Tools to practice daily, tools to refine over time, and tools that will serve you through every stage of life. Imagine how your world might change if you started treating your health as the foundation of your success, or if you embraced authenticity, knowing it would bring deeper, more genuine connections. Picture the clarity that comes from organizing your environment to support your goals, or the energy that flows when you align your work with your natural rhythms. These small shifts, practiced consistently, have the power to reshape your reality. The Stoics believed in taking deliberate action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must take action. Do not wait for the perfect moment. The time to act is now." Let this be your call to embrace these lessons and make them a part of your daily life. Begin with one habit, perhaps a mindful walk, an act of gratitude, or an intentional moment of rest, and let it ripple outward. I encourage you to share your own stories and reflections in the comments below. How are you applying these principles? What small changes are helping you live a better life? Let's learn from one another and grow together on this journey of self-improvement. Remember, every step forward counts.